call the meeting to order of RCDC on Thursday, August 11th at 3:03. We'll do a quick roll call. Emily Doran here.
Pat Sheehan here.
Ryan Ryder, more or less here.
Bobby Hempling here.
Colin Harvey here.
Great. Do we? And do we have any
Everybody wants to
public
hear me.
comment in person or virtually? No? Okay. Okay. We'll move to the consent agenda. Consent agenda. Discussion and possible action on the minutes from July 28th, 2022 RCDC meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Okay, a second.
Second.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Approved. Okay, regular agenda. Updates from the retail coach. Anyway, we got time because we changed times. He will pop in here at like 3:30 virtually. So we'll just kind of go through the other part of the agenda and come back. Discussion and possible action regarding the inclusion of the MOPAC South expenditures in the fiscal year 2022-2023 budget. I know Brooke sent us along through the city some great detail. I know I read it. I don't know if anybody else read it, but Colin, you kind of spent some time in it. Do you want to?
Yeah, I mean, so I think the question at the end of the last session was from Barry, and he just said, hey, we'd like to at least kind of know what all that stuff is for.
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually I think was me mostly. And then someone, did everybody get a package, or was I the only one that got a package?
No, we all got it,
with
yeah.
all
We
the
got it.
numbers?
We all got it.
Yeah, we read it.
I determined two things from looking at the package column. One was, most of our mayors over the last few years have a scroll for a signature that's actually illegible. Okay. I don't know what that means, but you can't tell who signed it.
I noticed different things from
I
the
was gonna
package.
say, that was not what I.
Maybe David Smith understands all this, the planning and what agency does what, and the management of the design of the roadway and the hearings and all. And I read all that and I couldn't make heads or tails of it, frankly. So I got the material I asked for and I read it, and I don't know what we have.
So I'll offer my conclusion.
Yeah.
It's different. I didn't notice the signature, but I guess reflecting, I think it looks like mine. I can't read it either. So the main thing that I took away from the whole thing is, to your point on, there's about 9 different agencies involved. It's super, super complicated. It has the answers that they come to. One, to hold them accountable to one of their guiding principles, which is to stay in alignment with the local governments and objectives, and what they intend to do with the plan that they ultimately put in place, requires a heck of a lot of work to do that, and to even understand all that's going on, and to be able to put forth, some of the correspondence, like what Gavin, what they helped Gavin put together that he submitted. So my thought process is, it has direct implications on everything that we care about from a commercial perspective. And there's no world in which you could keep up with all that stuff without attorneys.
Yeah.
So I think
Now, I had proposed a project that would allow us to contribute $30,000 toward the city's expense for that, and there's a $40,000 number in here in the paperwork.
Yeah, that was my next thing, was getting to the nitty gritty of the numbers.
But I'm notwithstanding that I can't understand the work product. If the city needs that support and we can give it, then I'm still all for doing it. It's not a question of whether we do it or not in my mind. It was a question of what, and I'm satisfied myself that I don't understand it and probably never will. But the city needs it, so let's do it. Now, how did it come 40 instead of 30?
Well, so on here at the actual budget, the last page of all the PDF stuff, the working draft, it says 40 for MOPAC legal. And then on the document that's in the packet that is, hold on.
I
It
think
still
I
says-
think the difference might have been the 40 was the actual ask.
I was gonna say 40, yeah, the 40 is still, so those numbers match up. But it's-
Did we already have 40? We
Yes.
already had budgeted 40, and
Yes.
so my project proposal
Which is separate from
for
this.
30 is an addition. That wasn't what I intended, but I don't know that I have a problem with it if the city needs it.
Well, but I think they're two separate things.
Are they?
Yeah.
Tell me why.
I think this is, this first one we're talking about is the actual funds that are needed for the city if we need to go through attorneys or whatever's needed as we work through what that MOPAC South project thing is gonna look like. And so that's separate versus what one of the items that you wanna bring up that's down here later in the
Related
agenda.
to whatever might be needed to codify the comprehensive plan.
Yeah, right.
But-
Ashley, do you wanna?
No.
I think, Brian, did you include the MOPAC legal also in your document? Is that you presented last month? Did you also include the MOPAC legal at a different amount?
I presented three proposals last month, one with respect to the park, one with respect to the contribution toward the cost of the zoning creation as a result of the comprehensive plan, and one with respect to supporting the city's funding on the MOPAC.
Okay.
But those were three separate projects.
Right.
Right.
That's what they got here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay. But
there's
I-
So this
and
for-
my
and-
question is,
So they're-
Commercial code update.
right, but I think we're talking about
And this first one's just legal. It's
page
Yeah.
12.
Yeah.
40,000.
There's 4
But I would
projects in
suggest
total.
30, and I don't know
There's
that
4
I
projects.
object to 40, but I'm trying to figure out why the
There's 4
difference.
projects
But they're
total.
not different.
There's 4 projects. It's your 3, and then the MOPAC, legal, thank you, the MOPAC legal piece. So the MOPAC legal piece is
But
not
one
gonna be a
my
part of,
projects was the MOPAC legal expenses.
no, yours was the traffic study from,
The what?
I thought we understood yours was the traffic study that connects the community and the residential to,
That was one of the projects.
right,
11,000.
Okay, is that what, okay.
yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Is it as clear as mud, Brian?
And I know y'all had discussed this one at length last month. We wanted a little bit more information. Now we have it. This is still the same amount and the same
That's
document that
been-
council had
Yeah.
kind of sent over for funding. And 40 was the amount they spent, or they budgeted last year.
Mhm.
We've spent about 9,000 this year. Depending on how that project progresses, there's been a lot of delays, COVID
Mhm.
project otherwise, and so at some point, if it really starts to get off the ground, those costs might go up. But we spent about 9,000 this year so far on legal help.
On legal help,
Yeah.
right. So your other stuff is in here, Brian, it's just not a part of the legal pieces of it.
Right, those 3 are the next, because so we kind of broke it up as this was the item that was not yet fully approved.
Exactly.
The next 3 had been discussed.
Correct.
We want to see these come back as a resolution and then pass it on to council. So this was kind of do we want this one to be one of those
Yeah.
2? And if
And we'd
yes-
ask questions and we didn't have the information, and so once we got it,
Okay. All right.
Are you ready to approve, make a motion?
so do we wanna take action on this? Anyone?
On the MOPAC legal,
Yes, sir.
motion to approve the
Okay.
MOPAC legal project,
Okay, funds for the,
funds for the MOPAC legal project.
thank you, Bobby.
Mhm,
Do I have a
anytime.
second?
Second.
Thank you, Pat. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, motion approved. Okay, great. So, now we come to the other projects that we had put forth. We're going to table the RCDC, update on the commercial plan from a the commercial corridor update to the comprehensive plan. Sorry, my words are jumbled. Colin and I want to do a little bit of extra work on that and come back to you all as a committee and provide us a little bit more detail that we share then with city council, not as changes to be made to the commercial plan, but more of feedback shared from those that are either own space in the commercial corridor or are renting that space, and also feedback from the retail coach. That then once we actually, the city council decides to make changes to that large document, which could be, we don't know, but that they have that information in front of them. So we'd like to remove that from the agenda right now and spend some more time on that and bring that back to you all.
So we're gonna defer the 30,000.
This is,
Well, it
no,
came
this
back
was,
as-
this was not, there was not an actual dollar amount for this. This was just feedback.
It's page 9 of the materials. Has a commercial code update for the comprehensive plan. And I'd like a little more detail on what you just told us, because my understanding was that the council had approved the new comprehensive plan.
Correct.
And was trying to move forward on zoning
Right.
to implement it, on changes to the zoning code to
Mm-hmm.
implement it. And I had been requested to sponsor a project of $30,000 that would help pay for the commercial portion of that rewrite of the zoning code. Now, you're telling me what?
Remember the document?
Two different things.
Right, we're talking about two different things.
Two different things.
Yeah.
So everybody's all, I mean, we'll talk about that in 2 seconds, but everybody's all in favor of that, I think.
Yeah.
We'll find out. But, so Emily and I, as part of working with the retail coach had basically introduced us to a couple developers who were planning some things in the 3 to 4 year time frame, gave us some interesting feedback that we thought was appropriate. We were under the impression that the plan was not approved yet, so it would be still wet paint, easy to make changes to. That's actually not true. It's approved, which is, to your point, why we need to codify it and why that needs funding. And so we're still continuing to meet as part of that process with more developers, because that's just one of the things we need to be doing.
Yeah.
And we just thought it would be a more productive way to just, hey, let's document what we've learned and provide it for potential future changes.
Right.
That's different from what we talked about last time, which was proposing changes to what we thought was a draft document.
Right.
So we're basically proposing to not do that,
Right.
but to share information in a more informal way.
Yeah.
And
So-
now your thing is still a thing that we need to talk about.
Correct.
I don't know if
Yeah.
it's next or not.
I just wanted to make sure that's
But-
clear to
okay,
everybody.
Something's gonna have to be done to redo the zoning when whatever.
Yes.
I thought the comprehensive plan had been adopted and we were just moving forward from
We
that.
are.
I wasn't aware that we still had this in play.
We don't.
We don't.
It's your understanding's correct.
It's adopted.
Remember multiple times we've sat here and said, what if we wanted to provide feedback to make changes or share anything, and it was like, oh, it's evergreen, it's
Well,
no
okay, but
problem.
I
So
understand, but
we've
the
learned that
council-
that's not the case.
Council does zoning. We don't do zoning. All we can do
Yeah.
is fund the effort.
Right.
So that's, and we know that has to be done.
We're not talking about zoning. We're talking about
We're not
sharing.
talking about the same thing still.
We're not. Yeah.
Everything you're saying is 100% correct and is documented in a project that you submitted that I think we're going to approve today.
Right.
And I'm not taking a position on whether your further input is coming in, going out, needs to be. That, to me, that's irrelevant to the question of whether we adopt a project and go through the process. I mean, there's a process we have to go through to approve our ability to spend money. And we're just deferring that process if we're all in agreement that
No,
funding.
No, Brian.
Why don't we do this? We don't have to approve these projects in order. Why don't we go to the next project and discuss it and approve it or disapprove it, and then come back to this one after that?
That's fine.
There we go.
Okay.
No
I'm-
problem.
So
Yeah.
we're on the $30,000 zoning project? Yeah.
And I think I might be able to offer some clarity. So this funding would provide changes to our code to match what has currently been adopted.
Okay.
Those future changes that y'all might be interested in submitting to the council for a future update to the comp plan are kind of a future down the road change. But this 30,000 in this request is for updates to our code to make it match the document, the comprehensive plan document, and those kind of ideas for how to make the commercial corridor more business friendly, or how, the different things that they suggested
Per the comprehensive plan?
per the comprehensive plan that has been adopted.
Okay.
Check.
Okay. All right.
I so move that we approve the motion for $30,000.
Great. Do we have a second?
Second.
Great. All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Okay.
Public
So we are,
Well, are we gonna do public hearing and resolutions?
Oh, sorry. Sorry, we have to go back, sorry. Nope.
You may call.
Do we,
Call one public hearing.
one public hearing at a time?
Yes.
Okay. So we have a motion, which is to approve, and we have a second. But before we do that, we have to have, if there's anyone from the public versus here or virtually that would like to have a comment. And this is a time where we as the committee do not respond. We just listen. So,
Open the public hearing at 3:19 p.m.
As a member of the former strike force and member of the council, I want to thank y'all for supporting this effort. I think it's going to be a meaningful change to our commercial corridor. It doesn't preclude if we need to make further adjustments in the future, but let's get on with this and get it sold. Thanks.
thanks, Brooke.
Name and
Brooke
address
Brown.
for the record, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
307 Nixon Drive.
Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna close the public hearing, right? We don't have anybody online? Okay, perfect. Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. Now we'll go around, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, on to the next. This is the Mobility, Connectivity, and Safety Plan, which, Brian, this is one of yours. And down here in the packet, it is for, forgive me, I'm scrolling. We have it for $55,000. This project would seek to improve mobility between the residential areas of Rolling Wind and the commercial areas, chiefly those along Bee Cave Road, while preserving pedestrian and golf cart safety. I just want to make sure that this, so in the actual budget, which is page 18 in the working draft, it's the last page, that 55 number is not on here.
Well, 55 is on page 12.
Right, we have it, so page 18, which is the actual working budget draft, we have it as 30,000, so I just want to clarify. And I know that was a very thought out number that we came
Yeah,
to,
well,
so I just want
wild-ass
to,
guess is what term we used last
Yeah, I
month.
think the
And-
55 comes from the 30,000 plus the 25 for the bridge.
That's correct.
Is
Okay.
that where it comes from?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the
so
number
Pat,
I
will you say
added
that
together when I put
one
it
more
in the
time?
document.
Loud.
55 comes from the 30,000 we talked
believe
about
you.
for the sidewalk, paying part of the sidewalk.
I believe you.
And 25,000
Thank you.
I
paying
think
part of the
actually
bridge.
the 30
For the
was
bridge,
going
okay.
for-
Okay, just so we're clear on that. So
actually,
that gets us to the
traffic
55
study work as well.
and the traffic study.
Yeah.
So this mobility, connectivity, and safety plan, instead of here on the budget, it says 30,000 on page 18, it should say 55. Ashley, do you have something?
And so in the, we ended up, we put also the resolution for that item in the packet. I'm sorry, I thought it was just the first phase for the 30,000, which is what we put in the resolution and in the budget. That's okay. We can adopt an amended resolution
Okay.
here, and then we'll go ahead and amend the budget. And we're not actually adopting the budget today. We
Right.
wanted to get all this feedback, and then we'll bring back the budget next month.
Yeah.
So that's perfect.
Okay, perfect. And I think that project is important to show like the forward thought that we're trying to get to. That's the mobility piece, Brian, right?
I was trying to champion the 30 for the
Okay.
mobility, safety, and connectivity plan.
Okay,
I have no objection to the,
and remember, this has to go to city
Including the
council,
bridge.
and they have to approve this project. So they could come back to us and say, we're only doing the 30,000, right?
ultimately, we don't, yes, ultimately the council is in charge of all that.
Correct. So what we can do is open up for public hearing. If there's any comments from anyone in the room or online, and then we could move, close out and have a motion if we'd like. Okay, looks like we have no public hearing comments, so we'll close that. Do we have a motion?
I will move to approve the plan on page 12,
Could you name the plan, Brian, just so that it's
which is
clear?
the mobility, safety, and connectivity plan
Okay,
for the, you want me to do it for the 30 or for the 55?
it's your motion.
Well,
Go ahead and do 55.
okay, I'll do the 55. Let's
Okay.
go with the 55. Let's go big.
Okay, do I have a second?
So
Second.
it would
Okay.
be the traffic study, connectivity, and 25,000 allowance for improvements.
Yeah. Okay, Pat Sheehan's a second.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries.
So on that resolution, we will modify that language to not just be the plan, but also the potential for those design components.
Yes, yes. And then make it the 55.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Thank you.
perfect. Okay. On to the next, sorry guys. Okay, so this last piece of number 5 is the park event amenities and promotion. Which, Brian, this is one of yours.
Yeah, this was, I think we adopted that one last time, but in any case, the purpose of the plan, what sheet is that on?
15.
15, yeah.
Thank you. This was for enlivening the park with perhaps coffee, with perhaps
Mhm.
little artist or farmers markets kind of thing, and
Mhm.
$1,000 for possible promotion. It was to be worked with, I'll work on it with Barry if he still wanted. This was actually a Barry idea,
Mhm.
the holdover from before I got on the
Yeah.
group, but I like it and try to move forward with it, and done some work on finding coffee vendors, for example, for
Yeah.
if it ever gets cool again, and coffee might be a good thing. And so I want to move for the adoption of that project, I call it the Enliven the Park project.
Can we just make sure on this page 15, it actually says, for the line item number and description, it says the mobility safety? I know.
I just texted Ashley. I was
Okay.
like-
Yeah, so can we just make sure that request number 4 here, which is page 15 in the PDF,
Yes.
that it's live in the park, or Ashley, what did?
Yeah, for whatever reason, it said, it's described as mobility, safety, and connectivity.
I know, that's what I was
plan
just saying.
above, but-
I was just saying that we need to
Okay,
change
that's
that.
what changed
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Live in the park.
And the description should be fine because it talks about bringing services to the sports events, yeah, and the nature of the farmers markets. Yeah, yes, at the very top. Is that, and 11,000, and this is just so that we're all clear for the funds. This is the 5,000 to allow it to happen, then some contingency money in case, right? I know, Brian, in your research, it was if they didn't make what they needed, that we would have to subsidize that, which we're fine with to kind of test this out, and then 1,000 for advertising, marketing.
Correct.
That's where we came up with that 11,000. So we'll open it up for public hearing if anybody, unless anyone else on the committee has comments or thoughts. Okay. No one here to comment on that? Okay, we'll close the public hearing. So do I have a motion?
I move to adopt
And a s-
resolution on page 1617, dealing with what I call enlivening the park, and I think it's called Rolling Wood Park Activities and Promotion Project.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Okay, great. Okay. Now we're on to number 6 for the regular agenda's discussion on the fiscal year 2022-2023 RCDC budget for approval at the September 2022 RCDC meeting. So Ashley, would you like to
Sure.
chat about this a bit?
So, you'll notice 3 different departments here in RCDC. This is the same document that y'all have seen in the past. We will make those updates there under the additional new projects, to include the 55,000 for item 5391. I believe everything else looks to be matching up to what y'all have approved today. Those resolutions will go on to city council. I believe 2 of them are a 1-read approval. One of them will require 2 reads, but that's just based on the statute and how we have to follow that. So, we'll do those and we'll get this in their budget. I did want to circle back on the administrative services
Mhm.
agreement amount. So we've kind of obviously talked about this a few times in the past. It's gone back and forth to council and then back to the RCDC. So I've been working with the mayor on this. He kind of remembered the discussion from last year and everything we had talked about potentially wanting to amend that amount. We've reworked some numbers. We've come up with what we think is the fair rent, utilities, things like that to make the RCDC run, and then come up with a discount that would then bring the total to about 77,000. So we would like to propose to bring back the administrative services agreement next month with that change made, and then we'll take that on to council. So that will change this amount in your budget from 88 to 77.
Okay. Anyone on the committee have thoughts, feedback? I have some, but please, anyone else?
David probably has some.
And what have we done with MOPAC Legal? Is that just in Never Never Land, or is that 40 stay in the budget?
It's,
We're going back to MOPAC Legal?
I think we approved it.
I believe y'all.
Oh, is it,
approved that.
we just did that?
We approved it.
We did that?
Yeah.
That was the
You-
first
you-
one.
You were
Tune of the-
one of the motions.
That was the first one we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, those have been approved.
Page 8.
I may be suffering from short-term memory.
No.
Huh?
It's all right.
I think the other thing too, because this has been such a topic of discussion, is this administrative agreement, services agreement, is instead of actually putting a dollar amount, that we put forth, some sort of language around, expectations or duties assigned, and that as we approve all these projects, obviously the workload that's going to fall on city staff is going to be a bit more, so it would, next year could increase. So instead of having a dollar amount in that document, have a bit more outlining of what we'll see in the budget. So that's something I'd like us to think about for the future.
You mean recommending to the city council that we'd like to see it documented better, what our money,
Not a dollar amount, but more of like
Right.
outlining, funds for
What we're
rent,
funding.
Salaries, et cetera, and so on.
and then annually decide on
Yeah,
what that
because
amount should
some
be
years
based
it,
on.
some years it could be much more. So that's just my reaction and thoughts.
I like that idea.
And that could allow for things to change as other things
Yeah.
fluctuate as well. So
I just think if we get
I think
stuck in
that's
this
great.
putting a number every time, and people are going to say, well, you only did one project, why? I think it allows us a bit more flexibility.
Absolutely.
That's my thought.
Great. Well, with that update, we will change that to 77,000. We'll bring back the administrative services agreement next month to RCDC. That will go on to council. Assuming everyone is, on board, we'll make those budget updates, but that's all to come. So.
Okay. Right. So basically next meeting, we will approve our budget.
Absolutely.
Okay. Cool. Do we have any updates on RCDC subcommittees? Any changes? No. Okay. I know we're waiting on Aaron, so just keep me posted for Retail Coach. Discussion and possible action on RCDC regular meeting schedule and just sort of the cadence for the fall. What we wanna, does lunchtime still work for everyone? I know nighttime is harder for staff. So I just wanna.
What do you, I can make noon, I can make 3. I can't make 3 on Thursday after this month. I've got a class at 3:45
right.
to teach. So that doesn't work.
So noon's the best time for you, really.
Yeah, or we could do the afternoon on Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Does
I'm
it always
open.
have to be on
I'm
a
open.
Thursday, Ashley? I was just curious.
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
Currently, it doesn't conflict with other meetings. We
Okay.
just have to make sure it doesn't. And
Doesn't.
we also have to check with Megan to make sure that it's.
Yeah, I know.
I just have to check the bylaws, but I didn't believe that it had a specified date and time, but sometimes they do. It just normally will say monthly, as agreed upon or
right.
set out by resolution of the governing body.
Okay.
So I can check that.
And I think being a bit more thoughtful about summer plans, and that maybe we say July is not a time that we meet unless it's, dire that we get together, because that's just tough for people.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, feedback?
If we could push to one corner of the week, it would be easier for me, because when you have them in the middle of the week, travel schedules make it difficult. Kind of forces you to break up your week. So I would prefer a Monday or a Friday,
Okay.
personally.
Actually, similar for similar reasons. I think
Bless
that
you.
that would be good for me.
Okay. So, Megan, you'll let us know
And I do
Yeah,
like
we-
lunch. I
Mhm.
think
Move
that's a
the
great
date.
time.
What
Okay.
time?
I do like
agree on
lunch
that.
time. I think it's a great time.
Okay, okay.
And I like doing nothing in July. That's
Monday?
a big aspiration of mine.
Yeah, I mean,
I do nothing in many, many months, and so
so either a Friday or a Monday at noon would be better, Ashley, for the group, just to not break up the week. So I guess you just need to let us know from other boards how
How
that.
it fits.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll have it, well, we do have a Monday Park Commission meeting. They're the first Monday though, so if y'all stick with the second week of the month, we should make
That's
that
fine.
work. I'm pretty sure staff would prefer Monday over Friday, but you know, hard to tell.
Yeah.
we do Friday at
People are
5
off on
p.m.
Friday.
Yeah.
Friday, 5 p.m.
Yeah, you'll have a very
With
empty
lots of
meeting.
public
You
comment.
might, you might pay no administrative services. We just might not be here, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we'll aim
It's a
for
good
maybe
cost takeout move.
first, the second Monday.
Second Monday
at noon,
at
if
noon.
that works with our bylaws, and if not,
Okay.
we'll send an email back out ahead of scheduling the next meeting, and maybe hold our normal meeting until we can get all of that
Yeah.
handled. But
Because so September meeting will be, sorry, so that's the 8th? September 8th?
Oh yeah.
is that a holiday?
No,
Is that Labor?
Is
no, that's Monday the 5th.
Monday the 5th,
Yeah.
okay.
That's Monday, this,
Oh, that's a
the
Friday,
second
of course.
Monday
Mm-hmm,
That's right.
it's the
Okay.
5th.
at lunch.
Oh, so what we're saying is the next meeting, if we don't change anything, is September 8th, which is that Thursday.
Yeah.
But if we
Right.
were, it would actually be
It'd be Monday the 12th.
Monday the 12th.
I think that would work with city staff's calendar, so we're happy
Okay.
to do that as long as there's no conflicting in the bylaws,
Yeah.
but we'll confirm and
Okay.
we'll get back to you.
We can do the Monday, we can change it to Monday anytime, just by resolution of the group.
Yeah, I mean, I think noon is just, it just makes my life a little easier.
Me too.
Thursdays are just sometimes hard with work. Okay,
All right.
okay.
So are we set for Thursday next month,
No, I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to move it to
Monday,
Monday, the 12th of September.
Monday the 12th?
Yes.
And then if the bylaws don't have anything conflicting, we'll bring forth a resolution and an action item to change the monthly
next-
meetings for the
okay.
next calendar year.
Okay.
Or fiscal year.
Okay. So for this, we had discussion and possible action, so we need to wait till we get an update on the bylaws before we take action. But we all kind of know our preference moving forward.
So that means what now? Bottom line, when do you?
Bottom line is Megan has to come back and let us know if the bylaws have any conflict in us changing it. And if no, then we can say now we want to meet on September 12th, which is a Monday at noon. And in that meeting, we will just have action to say we want to approve that we move them to the second Mondays of every month.
Okay.
Sound good? Okay. Okay.
Works for me.
Retail coach.
Aaron is about to jump on.
Okay.
He said he is wrapping up another meeting,
Okay.
so. looks like
Oh my gosh, there he is. That's
perfect.
I know. Hey, Aaron, how are you?
Hey, great. How are y'all?
Good. Well, if you need a minute, take it, but we're ready when you are.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I just walked out of another meeting. Sorry about that.
You're fine.
Give me 2 seconds to pull my notes up real quick.
No
Hold on.
worries. You're good.
Whew. Well, hey, I was in Rollingwood this morning, so I got to spend about 2 hours in Rollingwood this morning, and I don't know if Ashley told you, I got kind of mixed up on the meeting time, so I showed up at noon.
It's not your fault.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
We a couple of updates for you. We actually are continuing to see a lot of interest in Rollingwood. If y'all will remember when we had the conversation, months ago to kind of kick this off in February, March time period, I thought there would be a lot of interest, whether from retailers, restaurants, real estate community. That continues to be the case. So just this morning, had a call with a broker that has 3 prospects that they'd like to try to locate in Rollingwood. They don't know where to put them. So we talked on the phone while I was driving around Rollingwood today about getting creative. And I want to be careful talking about specific sites in this meeting, but there are some sites in particular that this retailer and this restaurant asked me about that I think are good redevelopment opportunities to really look at there. So the interest, one of the things I talked about in the beginning was just awareness, getting brokers, retailers interested in Rollingwood. We have that. We've got a lot of interest, but now trying to figure out how to put them, where to put them, if that makes sense. And we knew that was going to be the case. We knew that was going to be the hard part. But I'm starting to see a lot of these brokers ramp it up as far as trying to figure out how to make deals happen in Rollingwood. So I know for a fact that several of your property owners have received calls recently from brokers asking if they're willing to sell, asking if they're willing to redevelop, let a developer develop for them, and then put a space for their business or a space for their service business in there. So there's a lot of this communication, a lot of these conversations happening. I don't know if y'all are hearing that in the community, but there's a lot of interest from that standpoint. We've talked about the redevelopment of the Chinatown shopping center. I know that's not the name of it, but just as a way to remember it. That shopping center there that's repped by Edge. I actually have a meeting next week with the owner of that property again to talk to them about some plans they've put together, just initial plans they put together to kind of look at. I'd like to meet with them and then bring them to y'all to maybe talk through what that could look like, what that might look like. But bottom line, there's a lot of interest. Just trying to figure out the hard part, which is trying to figure out where to put them. So shops at Mira Vista completely leased up, and will be for the foreseeable future. That's the first people we talked to. That's the first place they want to locate. I had a restaurant tell me, if Panera ever goes out, we'll swoop in and get it the next day, which we know that's not going to happen. But that's how bad these retailers and restaurants want it. So there's a lot of awareness. There's a lot of interest in Rollingwood right now, which I'm really excited about. Now we're just at that hard part of trying to figure out how to make a deal happen, how to redevelop a site, make it happen, put the people in place there. We're also going to be representing Rollingwood September 1st in Austin at the Marriott downtown. That's the Retail Live conference will be taking place then. I actually just got a list of all of the retailers and restaurants that'll be at that conference. I'll send that out for the board to take a look at. But I've already had some conversations with brokers and retailers that want to talk at that event about Rollingwood and trying to get creative. But what I will do, if it's okay with you, is later tonight or in the morning, I will send over a list of properties that are being looked at right now for redevelopment or being talked about for redevelopment. So you'll have that list and just have an understanding of kind of what's being talked about right now. Does that sound okay?
Sure, that sounds good.
I had a presentation, but I'm not even going to pull it up if that's okay. But bottom line, just we knew it wasn't going to be a short-term process. We knew it was going to take time to get some of these properties to turn over and those sort of things. But I feel like now, for the most part, just about every property owner, just about every developer in the community is aware of the desire to up the game, if that makes sense, as it relates to users in the market. I've tried to educate a lot of the property owners. I've tried to educate a lot of the developers that, hey, if we up the game, if we get better, not better tenants, but if we get a higher level of tenant in there, you can, and we start to redevelop the sites, you can start demanding higher rental rates. You can sell out. I mean, some of those property owners that I've talked to are willing and ready to sell out, and just some of them go under retirement, if you will. Mm-hmm. So that's where we really stand right now. But if it sounds okay, I'll put a written update together with those specific properties that are being looked at right now for redevelopment to take place.
Okay. Aaron, this is Emily. Thank you for that. That's very exciting to hear. Just curious, sort of, what sort of next steps here? I know you're going to send us the properties. I know you've had, I think last time we heard there was 2 specific restaurants that were interested in coming here. I mean, I guess what is needed from RCDC to help you move things forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think now we're up to 5 interested restaurants that are kind of next level restaurants that want to be there. Okay. So we're up to 5. What I'd like to do is when I send over this list of redevelopment properties that we're talking about, I'd like to get y'all involved in starting to talk with these property owners as well, as we kind of go through the process there. one question that has come up quite a bit in talking with prospects is there's a little bit of confusion on what side is that? The north side of Bee Caves Road about the floodplain and issues there. Is there anything that y'all have that is a map that kind of illustrates that or shows, I guess, the true depiction of the floodway or floodplain that runs through there? Because there's some questions as I show these properties, or not show them, but as we talk about them, there's been a lot of questions about the issues with that. Is that something y'all have?
Can't they just look at a FEMA map?
Yeah.
So
An engineer should have. Do we have a city engineer?
Yeah.
I'm sure we
Can provide
pull
you some of
together
that, Aaron, yeah.
information, Aaron.
City
We
engineer
can
should
meet
have
up
that.
later this
and,
week or next
and
week.
the main thing is I want to make sure we have an updated map. I've seen a couple of different maps. I think from FEMA, but I'm not sure that we have the most up to date map.
Okay.
And I can look and see what I can find this evening as well. But as of late, like within the last couple of weeks, I've been getting asked questions about that, and maybe those maps changing in the near future. So I'm just curious if y'all heard anything on that standpoint.
I don't know of any current movement to do that, but yes, you need the updated map. There's no question.
But I think there's like a 2018 FEMA map that updated everywhere.
Okay. We can get
in
that
the
to you, Aaron,
Austin area.
for sure.
Yeah, that's what actually we had when we bought
Emily,
a
do we
house, was
have
that 2018.
any, has thought been given or documentation been done to water and sewer capacity is going to be a question that he's going to have to answer.
I mean, that's something we have to talk about.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I don't know what our situation is on that. Do we,
The
do,
comprehensive plan has a,
Thing in it.
a write-up
On
on
it.
that, and, there's been, I can't give you the absolute numbers. Sorry, this is Brooke Brown again. I can't give you the absolute numbers, but I know that there's been a recent quantification of what the, current capacity is and, the remaining capacity, for both water and
Sewer.
wastewater. So that's something that we can find
Yeah.
pretty readily.
The reason I ask that is, I'm aware from past experience that we have limited quantities of both for the city. Generous, but not unlimited. And number two, restaurants are fairly heavy users of both water and wastewater because they're running dishwashers and
Well, in our commercial corridor, some of the properties on the west end of Bee Caves Road, Rollingwood part of Bee Caves Road, are, I think on the south side, several of those properties are on City of Austin direct sewer
Good.
system.
Good.
And on the north side, some are still on septic. And so it's a bit of a mixed bag, but that, we can get you that information by property. It's just a matter of pulling up the right documents for you.
So Aaron, once you send us the list of properties, we can do our due diligence
Yeah,
and
one of the
provide
first
that for
projects
you.
that the RCDC did many years ago was a water line extension over to the commercial area.
Yeah.
So I don't think that availability of the pipes is the issue, it's the quantities.
Right.
Do we have any limitations on quantities? If we
Yeah.
do, we just need to make that known so that
Right.
we don't
Yeah.
get way down the road on negotiating something and
Sure.
run into a wall.
No, for sure.
That's all I'm saying.
I agree.
The quantity numbers have been, reconfirmed within the last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can find
And
that for you.
they're pretty clear in the comprehensive plan. It's outlined sort of what you're talking about.
I believe it's in the comprehensive
Yeah.
plan. I know the study's been done, and I know we have a recent engineering evaluation of what our current usage is and what the capacity is.
Yeah. Well, the
For
retail
both.
code, they need that
Yeah.
information.
We'll get that to you, Aaron.
We'll find it.
Cool. That sounds great. And Emily, to answer your question, what can be done by the board? There are going to be a couple of meetings that need to take place with potential prospects, if you will, developers that I know are going to have some questions for the city related to specific properties. Just what can be allowed on specific sites and,
Sure.
and those sort of things. So I think I'll be working to set those up with you all in the next couple of weeks as well.
Okay, awesome. Well, we
I
really
just
appreciate
think
it.
I think it'll be y'all are going to know a lot of that information better than I am. So I think if I can include y'all on part of that, it'll cut down on the number of meetings that need to take place.
Okay. That's awesome. Okay. Anybody else have questions for Aaron or feedback? This is exciting. Thank you, Aaron.
It is
We
exciting.
appreciate
Yeah,
the partnership.
Absolutely. I'll have that list of properties over to y'all a little bit later, and we'll
Okay.
go from there.
Thank you.
Next time, I'll be there at the right time,
Well,
and we'll do it in
we'll
person.
won't change it 3 times, so it's not your fault.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you
Thanks,
all.
Aaron. Okay,
All
bye-bye.
right, see you later.
Yeah.
Bye.
President, can we go back to item 8?
Yes, we can.
So your bylaws require that regular meetings shall be held from time to time as determined by resolution of the board. And also that your 4th Wednesday of June is your election of officers unless modified by resolution of the board. So I will include both of those components in a resolution and have that for your next agenda.
Great.
Would it be possible, Megan, we've always, well, I say we've always, since I've been here, done them in conjunction with the rest of the boards and commissions. Can we do that and move it to meet the rest of them? I think
So that it's all the
December and
same,
January's
yeah.
and everything, so
Correct, yes, if you'll provide me that date, I'll plug that in.
Yeah.
Perfect. That sounds great.
Okay, cool. Okay. Do I have a motion?
Motion to adjourn?
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. At 3:49, we're gonna end the RCDC meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Getting up and walking out will be delayed.